Hey! Oh, wait, I'm not Krusty the Clown. Welcome back to Pop Goes the Zebra episode.
Hey!
I don't even know at this point. See the thing below. I am your co-host, Jeremy the Ref, who's very exhausted because he decided that he is a hooper tonight. And with me, as always, is the other co-host of this illustrious television, YouTube podcast, whatever we want to go with, Jesse the Ref. Jesse, how are you, my friend?
I am here. It has been a day.
It's been a day. Well, I mean, they're all days, and oh God, I'm thirsty. Jesus, I'm thirsty. I went to the park and played basketball. And, well, I ran up and down the court and I passed the ball a couple of times. Most of them were assists, I will say. But oh yeah, it is part of my cardio regimen. I'm trying to get back into shape, and basketball is really good for cardio, but it's also really bad for you if you're out of shape. But anyway.
Oh yeah, no, trust me, I am very much round is a shape, and I am in fact round.
Yeah.
So
oh man, I hear you.
Yeah,
I hear you.
After Tampa, I really so the cool thing is I'll be moving towards the end of April, and where I'm moving to has a 24-hour gym on site. So I'm going to try to start making myself go to the gym and start working out and try to get some of this quarantine fluff off of me. So that way I can drop back to wearing like not an extra large ref shirt, but a large ref shirt and feel a little bit more comfortable in stripes again.
Yeah, I think so. I think I'm aiming for that too. I was down to a large shirt there last March. I am not in a large shirt anymore, at least not flatteringly. But that's a topic for another time because I like that we're talking about fitness and being in shape and all that. And we're saying we weren't going to do the exercise episode, and here we are talking about exercise. And
oh no, that's as far it's just like exercise. That's as far as we're getting, because it's just not my thing.
Yeah,
it should be, but you know what is my thing? Travel.
Nice segue. I forgot how we were going to do that. Bravo,
travel.
Sir. Bravo, sir.
Bravo, sir. No, I am a huge fan of traveling. Something we've kind of we've volleyed back and forth. How much both of us kind of enjoy a good road trip, not just in the context of professional wrestling, but just getting out
general. We've done some pretty cool places.
I would like to think I've done a few nerdy cool places.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm sure you've got a lot more.
Speaking
you're
of
international.
Nerds, I am. Oh well.
You're international, sir.
Yes, chubby zebra, INT, as it were. Tackle, drop down, chubby zebra. I've been known to do jet set in a previous lifetime. What?
Zebra butt.
Okay. If we're gonna do dumb jokes, real quick. Hey, did you know that koala bears aren't bears? Yeah, they lack the qualifications. Oh Lord, we just lost all of our viewers right there. I can almost predict that is where we lost them.
You know what? You know how we were talking about doing an episode with a certain person talking about that topic we were just talking about?
Yeah,
we could do an entire episode of bad jokes and dad jokes with that person, because I think he would have
disclaimer, we're not talking about Dan the Dad before anybody thinks that that's what we're trying to do. No. Not that we don't want Dan the Dad on. We do, but that idea was not meant to mislead people, is what we're trying to say.
No. It is a particular father figure of the
let's let
that's nobody knows who that is.
Anyways, we're gonna move on. You're saying too much already. Let's talk about travel. Jesse, hit us with something. What's a cool place you've gone? Cool place you thing? Let me try that again. Cool place you've gone. Cool thing you've done. The stage is yours, my friend. As I don't know what to do with my hands.
I will throw back to 2019. Had the opportunity to go to Tucson, Arizona. Not what you would think is a super cool visity city. Yeah.
Oh, it
Uh,
wasn't like an old west thing.
no, it wasn't an old west thing. I was actually out there with the company that I'm with, Lunar Replicas. We were vendors at Space Fest, which is just like you'd say kind of like a Comic Con, but it's for like space nerds and astronauts and space aficionados. And
Nerds. I'm kidding.
it a it was amazing to be the resort that we stayed at for several days was absolutely incredible. But one of the cool things that's out in Tucson, and there were two things that I wanted to do. We only got to do one of them. The thing that we
Mhm.
didn't get to do, there is a Titan missile silo where they still have a Titan II missile inside of it, and you can tour the silo and all that cool stuff. Which, me being a NASA person and a military person, was really cool.
Oh yeah.
But we went to the Pima Air and Space Museum, which was incredible. As an aviation nerd, it is a
Where?
great place to visit.
One more time. Where
Pima,
was that? Pima.
it Pima.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you said
Uh,
Piedmont. I was like,
no,
I
not now, not in Alabama.
no, Arizona. It's a Michael Crichton thing. I apologize. Continue.
Gotcha. Um, it's an amazing place. They have, of course, indoor displays with several aircraft, very well preserved aircraft that need to be inside. Then they also have
Ah,
the outside displays where they've got the JFK version of Air Force One, the NASA Super Guppy, a B-52, the B-36 Peacemaker, which is one of my favorite aircraft of all time. So it's just really cool if you're an aviation aficionado, kind of like I am. It's a great place to visit. We're supposed to be doing Space Fest again this year, fingers crossed, and the plan is to go to the Titan Missile Museum this time around. Now, there is a really cool place that's not far from the Air and Space Museum called the Boneyard, and that's where demilitarized aircraft are stored or broken down for scrap. And you can arrange tours to go see all these deactivated aircraft, and take pictures. And I believe you can buy pieces of them if you want to take that home in your carry-on suitcase. Uh, I, of course, made an attempt to steal the SR-71 that's there because, come on.
stealing's not cool, bro.
Yeah, but when you have an opportunity to have a Blackbird,
Is it
come
the
on,
thing
I
that
could
the
go from.
X-Men fly around in?
It's based off of that.
Da-da-da-da-da-da.
Go from Los Angeles
Da-da-da-da-da-da.
to New York City in 90 minutes.
Do-do-do-do-do.
That'd be
Do-do-do.
incredible.
Do-do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Sorry,
Okay,
I am an
so
eternal 8-year-old at heart.
so
Um,
anyways, that's kind of like the exciting thing. Again, you would think Tucson's not a very cool city, but if you're an aviation or military aficionado, it was absolutely a must. And of course, Space Fest itself was incredible. Um, Getting to hang out with astronauts. Uh, that's I
are
got to
you
hang out with
boys in the space program too?
got to hang out with our dear friend Al Warden and Fred Hayes
Righto.
and several others. It was great.
Ah, that sounds fun. Actually, I have a sister out in Tucson. Actually, now that you mention it, yeah,
July 5th through the 8th. That's when Space Fest is supposed to happen.
we'll
Yeah.
see. We'll
Yeah.
see. Oh man. Is it my turn? I feel like it's my turn.
It's your turn. It's your turn.
Cool place I've been. Well, I've been to. Uh, I'll go. I'll start with New York. That was definitely cool to see after growing up, seeing it in movies and things like that. Shout out to the Ninja Turtles. Um, one of the finest movies to ever hit cinema was the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. But anyway, um, just going out there and just kind of sightseeing. I actually walked from Brooklyn across the bridge into Manhattan, across Manhattan to the ferry boat that would take you across the Hudson to Jersey City, where we were staying for in our Airbnb during the collective when the last time WrestleMania was in New Jersey, and I got to see a lot of cool sights. I think one of the coolest things was just walking around and kind of seeing all the stuff from like cinema and video games. I think you actually commented on it. I actually went to Federal Hall, uh, where Solidus made his exit. You know, for Metal Gear
Yes.
Solid fans, you'll understand why Federal Hall popped me. And obviously seeing the Hudson River. I didn't get to go see the Verrazano Bridge or the George Washington Bridge, but I wanted to because again, Metal Gear fan. But walk, I walked. I also walked from Lower Manhattan all the way up to Central Park. I did a lot of walking. Nope, I don't. Nobody really understands the amount of cardio that I did going into that collective. I was doing like 2 hours of cardio a day. Uh, um, at least a half hour in the morning and then an hour and a half at night type of thing. And you know, I'm on my feet all day walking around, lifting and carrying car batteries and all manners. I was on my way to getting into some of the best shape of my life, minus, you know, obviously coming out of basic training. But anyway, just walking around seeing all the sights from movies. I went to oh god, the Plaza Hotel, walked past that and the Empire State Building and Central Park, obviously. But definitely one of the more somber moments had to be going to the 9/11 memorial site, and I actually did get emotional there. I went and looked at the plaques where the original towers were, and I was okay until I saw this flower that was on a name. Somebody had left a flower, and it hit me. Like, you know, it's real. You lived through it. You watched the film. You watched the footage on TV as it happened. But seeing the flower there that somebody actually put there for a loved one just really hammered home the scope of it all. And
That's
yeah,
that's one of my goals, is to go visit New York City.
hard not.
Um, yeah, I'll take over, let you compose yourself for a moment. Um, don't want to be a downer on this episode, but
Mm-mm.
both of us were very young and very impressionable when that happened. Like, we vividly remember where we were,
I was in
and
a spelling test in 8th grade, and a teacher came in and said they just bombed New York.
yep, I was
Was the words
in
they used.
I was in first period English, and we had the TV on. I was in 7th grade.
Oh, that day, oh, everything went out the window that day. There was no teaching plan. We were just glued to the television set.
Yeah, it
And yeah,
was.
oh yeah.
And the thing is, we are of an age where we understood, and there's a dividing line. It is life.
There are those that
that-
experienced it and those that read about it in history books. And I'll
there
tell you
it
this right now, the history books do not do justice to
No,
the actual experience of
because
going through it.
because we remember life, September 10th, 2001
Mhm.
and prior, and
Yeah,
how
whole different
everything
world.
was.
Whole
And
different
then
world.
everything that was September 12th, 2001 forward. It's a dividing line.
Oh yeah. It's a
And I feel
paradigm shift in of itself.
and I,
Um,
and I feel as though anybody that makes the venture to New York owes it to
yes.
themselves to visit. Now, me personally, like, I want to visit the Intrepid Museum, I want to visit the Ghostbusters Firehouse and things like that. But a must for me is to go to the World Trade Center Plaza. Um, just because it just, I feel as like those of us that watched it and had our lives changed by it, we owe it to ourselves. to go there.
Oh yeah.
But let's not let that be a damper. There's so many other amazing things.
Oh yeah, and I'm already thinking of what.
Now, see, I've never been.
Experiencing the subway at night in New York is something. Do it with a group. But it is
That's not the
something.
first time I've heard that.
It is something you definitely need to. You got to experience for yourself. Yeah, we just saw all manners of insanity and craziness. It just
that's the thing. My roommate told me the first time he ever visited New York, like he took hand sanitizer with him.
Oh, for sure. This was even pre-COVID. We're just like
pre-COVID, of course. This is like in the 90s, and he said he had no idea how big of an appreciation for hand sanitizer you would have until after you've ridden the subway in New York City.
Yeah, and then of course you talk about New York, you got to talk about the pizza.
That's where I wanted to get. Now you've been to New York. Did you partake in the local?
I partook in the local pizza, but I do want to put a disclaimer down. I don't think that I personally had enough New York pizza, and I'm not saying that as a fat man. I'm saying that as like I'm trying to be objective here because living where I live, you don't always you kind of get pulled into that New York versus Chicago argument. I don't think I had.
I knew where this was going.
I don't think I had enough of a selection to really give an honest, unbiased opinion on New York versus Chicago pizza. But I will say they are both different, and I liked them both for different reasons. I will say this: the slice of pizza that I got was literally about the length of my forearm. And
that's
it was
amazing.
Just giant pepperoni, and it was like $4, and you got a can of pop to go with it. It was very cost effective. I definitely want to go back, try it out, things like that. Try some more out, because I've also heard you got to get into some of the boroughs a little bit, not just Manhattan. You kind of got to go into Brooklyn and the Bronx.
Get away from the tourist areas.
Oh, for sure. Now there are certain tourist areas you have to hit for their pizza, but definitely one that I would recommend for anybody going to New York for a few days. Try out all the local pizza and kill pizza for yourself at the same time, because you will out pizza yourself to the point where you no longer want to look at it. But anyway, definitely
nobody pizzas the Hut.
Nobody. But definitely something I would recommend. I definitely want to go back. I didn't think going into it I would be a New York guy, like that I would enjoy it as much as I did. But I had fun in New York. In fact, I rolled in to New York and finally landed at the Airbnb, got a cab into the city, and went and met up with some friends. And they were all at this really retro, like arcade style bar, where literally they've got all the like NBA Jam, and I think I beat Jake Clemens and NFL Blitz. Suck it, Clemens. I beat you. All that shit you talk, I beat you. I got you. But anyway, like all these video games and stuff, like just arcade style. It was everywhere you look, just different arcade games. It was really cool. And then of course we went running around Times Square after that, because it was just me and a bunch of zebra friends, and we're just running around Times Square. And I've often said that was my favorite night in of the collective. And yes, I am putting that up against all the matches and things I did while I was there. It was absolutely my favorite night, and I didn't even have to put my stripes on.
I know the picture that you took, and the look, just the smile on your face, it's not one of those like forced.
And most of those people I'd never even met before. I'd seen them, but I'd never met. But man, it was just a great night, great group of people, mostly, and fun. New York has something for everybody, and I'm putting that along.
I was invited to come up there, and
I told you to get your ass up there, and
you did. You were one of the people that you a couple others were like,
I could probably scroll back and see the excuses you gave me. I'm sure they're somewhere in my. I never delete my messages. I'm awful, but anyway.
If it's when I think it was, I was not able to travel because I was recovering from surgery.
Pish posh.
I wanted to go so bad, but
in hindsight, you weren't able to travel for injury, and now we've got in 2021 COVID time, we got people that should be traveling and still are, dude. But I digress. I'm sorry if she ever sees this. I'm sorry, Kylie. In your absence, I started doing this, and I'm stealing it, and I'm sorry. I'm stealing your thing.
Just want to throw some more shade at me there, bud?
Oh, dude. You've known me how long? You think I'm going to stop throwing shade? Anyway.
I will at least say that as of today, they have implemented a new COVID policy for any of the talent. If you work any shows, if you've gotten tested, that's fine. Stay off of your shows this weekend. If you work another show, you have to have a rapid test on top of your regular test. That's how serious
Good.
they're taking this. And
they should be taking this seriously.
And I have to applaud the GCW crew for taking things so seriously and trying to make sure that we're providing a safe environment for the talent and the fans. Off my soapbox.
Get off your soapbox, bro. It's churches on Sunday. I will I will get off onto a sidetrack if I start explaining every thought that goes through my head. Like every time a phrase triggers a memory in my head, like this will never get finished.
Okay, no.
Anyway,
before we do that, I have an idea for an episode because I have to do it now or else my brain will forget it. We should just start talking about something and just let it go and see
what our brains do.
See where we end up in like an hour and a half and see how random of a.
I'm intrigued. Thing. Can we add alcohol?
Do it. We can't do it sober.
Yes, I'm here for it. But before we go there, where's another place you've gone? Man, we are just doing those ham-handed segues.
So let's take a guess. Me being a NASA person, where do you think is a cool place that I've been?
The place where Kennedy got shot?
No, see, no, that's in Dallas. That's on my list.
Dallas, we've had a problem.
See, WrestleMania next year is in Dallas. That means
I know
the weekend is going to be in Dallas.
So here's the deal. Like, I'm fearing that like no other, because I've only been to Dallas one time in my life. It went awful for us. It was a family. It was a family vacation.
Jeremy does Dallas.
Oh God, it was more or less the same thing happened because we got bent over. It was a rough vacation from start to finish. Your boy was pretty much over the barrel.
Your 2 weeks in the barrel are up.
Oh boy, we aren't going to talk about that one. Where's another? Okay, so obviously you're talking about either Cape Canaveral or Houston. So I've not been to Houston.
That's on my list, but I have been to Cape Canaveral. It was a birthday trip in 2017. I had to actually think. 2017. My girlfriend and I ventured down in between two hurricanes to go to Cape Canaveral, and I'm gonna be
back. There's a hurricane coming through. Sorry, you say things, and I have to. I am
no. The same thought every time somebody brought up a hurricane is coming. I wanted to literally just Shane Helms it and just. Anyways, we were down there for I think 4 or 5 days, and we made several trips to Kennedy Space Center each day because we stayed in Daytona, which was beautiful and amazing. Traveled back and forth between Daytona and Cape Canaveral, and we did several of the tours. We did the past and present tour, which took you to Cape Canaveral, which is the actual Air Force base, and that's where all the original missile range, the Atlantic Missile Range, and that's where all the old launch pads were, Mercury and Gemini, and
Gemini.
spacecraft difference.
Thank you.
And some current rockets fly out of. But we saw where the first manned space flight for America at Pad 5,
America. Fuck yeah.
which was incredible. Traveled to Pad 19, where John Glenn flew into space. The somber moment was when we got to Pad 34, which is where Apollo 1 happened. And it's one of those things, like, you go to a historical site, and the moment you set foot on it, you can immediately see, and all that's left is the pedestal for the base of the launch pad and a few things around. But the moment I got onto what the pad was, I could see what are you doing?
What was the first thing I talked about?
What?
Have you ever been to a place where something historical has happened and you can literally see it?
Yeah.
Where was
Yeah.
that?
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah. So the answer is yes.
Yes.
I didn't mean to step on you there, but I was just like, we just talked about this.
Yeah. No.
Sorry.
But what I'm
Yeah.
explaining in that sense of, you could sense, like, you could see the structure of the launch pad surrounding the rocket, and you
Yeah.
could see, in my mind, you could see all the commotion going on, the fire trucks showing up, and it was a very strange feeling, because we were there in September, so it was nice and hot, 80 degrees, but it was just cold. For whatever reason, around Pad 34 was just a very cold feeling. And it was very somber. Cassie's a very emotional person, and she was very emotionally driven there. And for my money, it was worth going there, because, being a NASA person, that was a very historic place to see.
Oh, yeah.
The next day, we were able to take a tour that took us by the VAB and Pad 39A and 39B. 39A is where SpaceX does all their launches, and they were prepping for a launch while we were down there. But getting to see the vehicle assembly building from the perspective that we had, it was just incredible.
Mhm.
And seeing the mobile launch structure for the SLS, which is very similar to what Apollo had. We're in the bus and we're trying to look out the window,
And it's so big you can't see to the top of
you
it.
can't see the top of it. And the mobile crawlers, there were two of them there, and just it was
How many
so
story would you say it is if you had to spitball a guess?
I would say probably 80 stories.
Damn, that is big.
I think
I
the
stood next to
VAB is
the
about,
I stood next to the New World Trade, and that's over 100 stories, and that thing was massive to look like. It was so tall, it was curving over you. So I can imagine how big.
you have to, like,
for
lay,
my reference. Yeah,
you have to, like, lay back to see, and it was
all of it. Yeah.
and it was, again, such an incredible sight. And of course, we spent several times going to the visitor center, the Saturn V building, which is becoming, me seeing a Saturn V, a real Saturn V, or flight articles, is becoming a very regular thing with my trips to Huntsville. But getting to see another Saturn V, getting to see a lot of the cool artifacts that were at KSC. But the really cool thing was seeing the Space Shuttle Atlantis, because they do this really awesome presentation, and then they pull this curtain back, and there's the space shuttle, and you get chills, because you're like, "Ooh, holy shit, this thing is big." And you could get so close to it, you could almost touch it, and you could just see this massive thing that people rode into space and home safely. hundreds of times, and it was just it. Places like that are so awe-inspiring to me to see that kind of technology and to really have an appreciation for it.
So you mentioned that it was cold where you went
Yeah.
to a place and it was just cold. I actually had a moment like that. Uh, I wasn't going to talk about my trips to Germany, but since you brought it up and you touched on that, we were in Germany. We were kind of split between Grafenwehr and Vilsek, Germany. Uh, and I'm wanting. It was in Grafenwehr, actually. There was
Is
a
it I was like, is it bad that I know where this is going before you have even said anything?
well,
Yeah.
yeah, there was a observation tower where Hitler would observe his troops. And I kid you not, I would walk past it every day for 2 weeks, and every day, same spot. It got cold. Now, mind you, it's middle of summer. It's 80, 90, 95 degrees there. You stood, but if you walked past there, it was like somebody pouring cold water down your back. Just, I,
Yeah. It's it
I sensed a
and
great disturbance in the force.
yeah, and it was Cassie and I had this fun little thing where we wore our Ghostbuster stuff the first day, because we had missed time the days of which we were going to do things, and we were kind of thankful because we were like, oh, it's we suddenly got so cold. Um, we are just like, had something to kind of bundle up with. But yeah, it was I it's weird how historical places of any significance, um, good or bad, can have those kind of vibes to them.
So I do for those of you that think I might be like exaggerating or embellishing this story, here's the problem with that train of thought. I didn't think about him or even put two and two together until I was told later on in the week that he used to stand up there and observe his troops as they were training and marching and things like that. I just thought somebody had like a fan or some sort of apparatus going that would blow cold hair, and then I found out later that yeah, that was actually a place, and I'm just and yeah, I'm no, I felt the disturbance long before I put two and two together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and I feel like, if you were to visit a place like Dealey Plaza in Dallas, I feel like that's going to be kind of a similar.
Well, you really can't be sure where to go though because they've covered their tracks and moved all the place. I mean, there's been renovations, you know.
Just pull another string out of the conspiracy ball.
Hey, what's this red dot on my head?
um, so yeah, Kennedy Space Center for me is it's the mecca. If you're a NASA nerd, I would there's a trio. It's Kennedy Space Center, it's Johnson Space Center in Houston, and Huntsville, the Marshall Space Flight Center. So it's like those are the three places. If you're a big NASA person, those are the places to go.
Yeah. Well, I guess for me to kind of close this up, for me, I'd be remiss if my girlfriend never saw this and I didn't talk about my re-emergence of love for Disney. Excuse me, for Disney. Um, I've been there uh 3 times in my life. Disney World, we're talking. The first time I was in oh shoot, I was 8th grade. My dad used to work for Best Buy, and he won like Salesman of the Year or something, one of the best in the company, whatever. And they had like a convention down there or whatever. We stayed at the Yacht and Beach Club. And I'm like 12, 13 years old. I am at this point in the timeline for Disney. I kind of fell into a dead zone that was kind of there for the male demographic, because they at this point they were still very much just very Disney princess, luncheon at the castle. Not my scene at the time, right? Disney had like I said, I was in kind of a dead zone for what they were aiming for. I didn't fall into the, I wasn't like a 16 or younger year old girl, and I wasn't like a married 20 something with his own children. So, like I said, they weren't aiming for my demographic. So we went down there, and I really did not have a good time. Like the only good time I had was hanging out in the hot tub with a couple of girls that were there for the same convention. That was about it. And so never, after that, out of sight, out of mind, and really get into the movies, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, till many years later. My girlfriend graduated college and decided that to celebrate, she was going to go down to Disney World, and she's taking me with. I'm like, okay, I'm going to put the good boyfriend hat on, right? And we went down
Now,
there.
mouse ears.
Well, yes. We went down. Well, and this is after Pirates of the Caribbean. Like, Disney had done some work since I'd been there to kind of make it a little bit more everybody
It was an
friendly.
overhaul.
Yeah, they'd done an overhaul.
Yeah.
So it wasn't all frou-frou princesses, cup of tea, all that, let's have a tea party, we're all eternally 5 years old, wasn't that anymore. There was something for everybody now, and I went down and I had a much better time. So naturally, after all that, well, I wanted to go back just because I kind of got to this point where I liked going and doing things with my girlfriend, and we had such a good time. We had to go back, and that was 2015, and we had a good time again. And Disney is just one of those places we now call it home. And yeah, we may end up going back here in a week or two. We'll see how things go. Just depends on how things look, time constraints, things like that. Is it safe? But I really enjoyed the food aspect. Go figure.
That is something I have heard. Is that
Disney's got some?
Yeah.
They got some stuff up their sleeve, man. I recommend, for me, when COVID goes away and everything is back to normal, Ohana at the Polynesian. It is like a Brazilian steakhouse type of thing where they just bring it out on a skewer and they slice the meat for you. It's all you can eat. And for the frou-frou drinkers, the ones that drink like a sorority girl like I do, there's this thing called a lapu lapu. It is all sorts of different types of rum inside of a pineapple that they've hollowed out. And they put the lid on and they make a thing for the straw. It's freaking awesome.
Okay, no, you have me won over with rum.
For more information, see my old, now retired show called My Life in Video Form, and you will see the 5-day adventure that we had down there. Maybe I'll post a link in the comments section below, and you can go see the Disney adventure we had in 2015. But we had a ball there. There was that. There was the Benihana-esque Tapan Ido, the hibachi, little choo-choo train with the onions and the volcano and all that jazz we all know and love. We just all sorts of good stuff down there. The food was amazing. Briefly, I will say that the best time that we found to go, just for us, is that last week of October into November. Because they're at Halloween, but then they're going right into Christmas, so you kind of get two holidays in one. So definitely one of our favorite places to go. But I also want to get to Universal again, because since we've been they've upgraded the Harry Potter exhibits. And I will tell you this right now, I'm a big freaking Harry Potter nerd. I have been known on more than several occasions to get into arguments about whether or not Snape is a hero or a villain. He is a hero. Do not argue with me on this. I will beat you over the head with all of my evidence, and then I will beat you again just for being stupid enough to argue with me. But anyway, um, yeah. So we're looking. I can't wait to go to Universal and go see all of. I can't wait to ride the Hogwarts Express and
Yeah, I have never been to Disney. It has not been on my radar. Um,
I will say
Unfortunately,
this. I will put it in the Vegas category. You have to go with a crew.
at least once.
You have to go. Well, not even that. If you're gonna go, it is a two-player or more type of environment. You
Oh,
can't just go on
100%.
your own. You
I would
can't
not
go
be
on your own
would not be going there solo.
because one, you'd be the weirdo that's going there solo. Yeah, don't do that. And the other, yeah, like I said, you need to experience this with somebody to really make that magic happen. Um, hell, half the fun when Alice and I were there, where we stayed, we like Caribbean Beach. Some of you are gonna go, it's not one of the really fancy places, but first off, screw you for judging. It's called a budget. Secondly, they had these wonderful steak, egg, and cheese quesadillas, or not, yeah, quesadillas. Every morning we would eat al fresco outside, and our good friend Mr. Duck, no relation to Donald, strangely, would come and sit with us. It was an actual duck, and he would just come sit with us and watch us eat. And it was so fun. We named him Mr. Duck. But we'd sit outside every day in this little Caribbean themed, you know, hotel strip. And we just, we'd have our breakfast and we just watch the people go by and you get the water just right there. It was such a great way to start your day. So definitely cannot wait to go check it out again.
Yeah, that's definitely a that's a vacation. I feel like those are those kind of places like you don't just like, oh, it's going to be a weekend trip. No, you've got to plan, you got to get money. Yeah, money.
And it ain't gonna get any better now, brother.
Which, that's the thing. Like, I feel like that's a once every couple year kind of thing for some people. But for us regulars who don't have an obsession with Disney,
I wouldn't say I have an obsession with Disney so much as I have an obsession with all the fun that I have at Disney World.
yeah. There are definitely other alternatives to a Disney trip, and
It depends on how you do it.
True. I was just using it as a quick segue to
Oh.
get to my last little because I wanted, those two places were kind of the place.
Easy for you to say.
Words. I have not been able to talk today, and it's
English
sucks.
is not friendly.
Me fell English, that impossible.
That impossible. I love Ralph Wiggum. I could listen to the Ralph Wiggum isms all day. I fucking love him. But you were saying,
yeah. So talking about Kennedy and talking about Tucson, those are not really, weekend vacation trips. Fortunate for me, I guess, because I live in the great state of Tennessee. It's not great, trust me. I
know Nashville's there. Suck it, Preds fans. Suck it, Preds fans.
Apparently, there's a giant. Never mind. I'll send you that picture later. It's traveling around downtown right now. You'll get a kick out of it. There's a wonderful place, and it is very touristy driven. A place called Gatlinburg. Mm-hmm. It is beautiful. It is amazing. We have a friend that celebrates her birthday in November, and her thing every year is that we had do a group trip to Gatlinburg.
That's
unfortunately,
right
Year before last, Cassie and I both had to miss due to work, unfortunately. We were able to go last year, which was actually kind of nice. Because there wasn't as many people as there would typically be up there. So it was a lot easier to get around and to do things. But Gatlinburg on the main strip is amazing just for it's a tourist place. You're going to have all these tourist trap spots and souvenir
Naturally.
shops, but there are great little places in between. There's amazing places to eat. Um, I like the Peddler is a great steakhouse. Um, there's a Calhoun's, which is highly expensive, but worth the money. Um, Flapjack houses. You'll have to get up early because if you don't, there's a line out the door to get in, and these places are
You know what that
incredible.
means.
Yeah,
There's a line, there's a reason.
there's a reason people want to be there because of the food being amazing, and honestly, it's worth the wait. Um,
So,
but there,
side note, real quick, if you ever come up here, you need to stop off at a little place. Well, it's not a little place, but it's called the Farmhouse.
okay,
It's it is a newer restaurant up here at it's called the Fair Oaks Dairy Farm, and they have a restaurant. It's a steakhouse. Jesse, a tomahawk ribeye that thick, bone as long as my forearm,
yes, sir,
steak about like that. Oh God, it was a damn
yes, sir.
dinosaur.
So it's
If you got to
very
ask
apparent.
how much it costs, you can't afford it.
Point being here is that Jeremy and I are both huge fans of steak,
We're both huge fans of food, motherfucker. Who you trying to kid?
but
Ain't just steak.
we both appreciate a good steak. And that's there's a couple really great steakhouses that are in Gatlinburg. On this last go round, we did a couples massage, which was incredible. We no, it was both of us were me being beat up with wrestling, her working retail. We got to visit the Ripley's Aquarium, which was it was a little pricey, but it was a very cool experience. We missed the penguin walk where they walk the penguins through the whole thing, but we spent probably an hour and a half in front of their enclosure just watching the drama of penguins fighting over rocks. It was fantastic. Um, other cool things to do. Alpine coasters, the various mini golf places, which we had a mini golf tournament. I won because I love mini golf.
It should be an Olympic sport.
It should be an Olympic sport. When you're playing mini golf on the side of a hill, it's crazy. It's awesome. Um, but just outside of Gatlinburg is Pigeon Forge, and that's the big tourist area. That's where Dollywood is. That's where um, there's a crime and murder museum. There's a Titanic museum there. High, highly recommend the Titanic museum.
Sorry.
Plenty of uh, dinner theater places that are up there. And for Cassie and I, we both love antiquing, so there were some great antique places up there to go to. It's one of those for us. It's like a 3.5 hour drive, 4 hour drive from Middle Tennessee, so it's doable for a weekend trip. But yeah, and that's definitely for a quick weekend getaway. There's that, and then for us, we also like Huntsville because it's only about 2 hours away. But of course, that's a space place.
Isn't that the land of Cabana Man Dan?
That would in fact be the land of Cabana Man Dan.
Shout out to he who wields the flip flop.
So he's not doing the flip flop chop. He is Castaway Man Dan. He is more aggressive and more.
Something.
Oh, dude, you got to. He's Cabana Man. Damn, because he's gotten ripped. Dude, he is Cabana Man Dan is legit. He is also cool dude. Shout out to New South being kind of my home right now. Which, like I said, great thing for me. I get to spend a lot of time around Huntsville. My hotel is in Huntsville for the most part, and I will swing by and say hi to the Saturn V whenever I can. So Another great thing.
There you
Another
go.
town. Go visit Huntsville.
There we go. Well, that'll about do it here for us. We wanted to just do a nice little episode about travel because we're getting it. The weather's starting to heat up now. People are starting to get out there and test the waters a little
Heat
bit more.
is on.
Thank you. Yeah. So throwing some places out there for you to get out there and try. Yeah. Lots of places that we've been to, plenty that we didn't talk about. Maybe we'll save those for another time. But
A part two.
a part two.
Part
But
two.
but before we can get to part two, Jesse, we need the words of wisdom, brother.
Oh, especially today. This is the day where this seems very appropriate to have my final thoughts because we are going into the weekend as we're
It
recording
is the
this.
weekend. It is a Friday as we record this.
No clue when this is actually going to go up, but it is most important on your.
If you're watching this on any day that's not a Friday, just pretend it's a Friday.
But don't pretend it's a Friday at work.
Don't.
Yeah,
do
that just no.
You'll still have to show up for work tomorrow.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
But most importantly, the things that you have to remember is I don't want you to add to the population. Do not subtract from the population. And please, for the love of all that is holy, do not be the reason why we have a safety briefing on Monday.
So for the crew of Pop Goes the Zebra, we want to wish you all a good night and have a pleasant evening. Take care.
Boop.